Hey, look at us. We're back. It's time for some drinking. It's time for some wrestling. And it's time for some Grappy Hour. Lillie, we're back. Lillie, we're here. Strong woman going for Jade Cargill's fire. I can see it. How you doing?
I am doing well. The sun is out. Things are moving towards spring. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Like you said, sun is out where I am too. We're not too far from each other, but it's a beautiful day. It's cold AF. But I'm ready for the sun.
It's an illusion. Like, do not wear this if you were in Toronto.
I mean, I've got my sweater on because my heat is not fully pumping all the time at my place, but this is the best we got until hopefully mid-March when things start to clear up. It's supposed to be like 7 degrees Celsius in Toronto on Wednesday.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which, like, I'm stoked. That's spring weather for us. That's the beginning of the.
That's tropical.
Yeah, that's tropical. So I'm ready for that. I can go out in just no jacket, just a t-shirt, go with some shorts, go crazy. Let's do it.
I've already seen a lot of people in shorts already, and I'm just like, whoa, buddy, let's chill out for a second.
Can you? I can't do that. Like, I couldn't go out in shorts in like minus 20 Celsius, but people do it.
No, I even tried to just go outside the other day to see if my mom was parking right outside of my building, and I was like dying in my shirt. It was It's too much. I'm over it. I want to move to Mexico.
There's a Starbucks not too far from where I am. I'm not giving anything away by saying that because there's a Starbucks in every damn corner of every street in every city. But anyway, there's also a condo, which is just down the street from said Starbucks. And I've seen people go in their like bathrobes and slippers at 8 a.m. to this Starbucks in the middle of winter.
I actually love that because I've always wanted to do that at the grocery store. Just, so disheveled in just a bathrobe, not slippers because Toronto's gross, but yeah, true. I want to do that. So kudos to those people who just go into Starbucks with nothing on, really.
Well, I put on clothes this morning and I went to the LCBO, to our liquor store, and I picked up a bottle of wine because it is Valentine's Day. So
it is.
How else do you celebrate Valentine's Day than with a cheap bottle of Moscato? Because it's a sweet day for everyone, right? And also because I just want a cheap drink to talk about.
Yeah, there's actually some good finds. Yeah,
wrestling was sweet this week, so I'm into it. Get me some.
There were highs, there were lows, there were indies, there were pros. We had it all.
As I'm sure you hear me pouring in the background. Perfect. What did you have? What did you pick up?
Well, like we said, the weather's getting better, so I thought, what not? Wow, I can't talk today. What would be better than a Radler?
Yes.
So I got a Radler from a local called Ace Hill. They're quite good. They make beers and spritzers and all types of stuff. And this is just a grapefruit Radler, 100 cals, really easy to drink. And it reminds me of warmer, nicer times.
Shout out to Ace Hill Brewery, who also, I think they're still doing their deal with Porter, where anytime I fly Porter, you get a free Ace Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Down with that, absolutely.
They good snacks too.
Oh, they do good. They do have good snacks. Their Terra chips were always good. Those are good. Come on,
they're so expensive.
Yeah, they are. But if you get them on a plane, they're free and you load up. Anyway, while you're here, I'm going to break the fourth wall because normally it's just us. Toss us the thumbs up on this whole thing. Tell us. Comment.
Watch it 10 times so we get more views. Send it to your mom. Send it to I don't know, your book club. I don't know.
Send it to your ex who's just like, I need them to see what wrestling is all about from these two jokers because they're going to talk about it from two different perspectives. That's what
it's actually interesting to think of how many dates tonight could maybe revolve around Valentine's Day, and also how much money professional and indie wrestlers probably made on cameos just for Valentine's videos. I would have loved one from Danhausen personally.
There's still time.
Yeah, but he's probably busy so.
That's fair. That's true. So I had a friend of mine who actually sent me a DM the other day with a Nick Gage cameo that they got for their partner.
Oh, and amazing.
Their partner is like a huge recent GCW fan, like went to a show and just fell in love with the culture. And so, they got them the cameo, and it was and Gage was so sweet. Like it's really surprising because you see how he's portrayed like in the wrestling ring and the shit that he says, but like in the cameo itself, he's talking about love and loving love and being with his own partner for like 20 years. It's the sweetest little thing. And I'm like, oh my God, Nick Gage is a sweetheart and does like nice lovey-dovey cameos. It was really cool.
Well, even the way he got arrested was essentially because he was broke and he just wanted to kind of like eat, and he wanted to take his girl out for dinner, and then he turned himself in. So he's kind of this romantic outlaw character in a way.
I like it. Mm-hmm. So we got through wrestling this week. We got a lot to talk about wrestling this week. Where do you want to start? Because I know you got a lot on your head.
Why don't we switch it up and just talk about some of like the crazy shit that's going on? I might just kick it off by saying, you know, I think on one of our earlier episodes, we were always talking about wrestling and women's wrestling. And I hope that one day that we can just refer to women's wrestlers as wrestlers personally, because it's just so silly to me that needs to be included. But someone that I was very harsh on, and always have been very harsh on, is Anna Jay. And that's mostly because of her delivery and because of her, I guess I just didn't really buy what she was selling. Let's call it that. And after watching Thunder Rosa's taco vlog, I think it came out last week or very recently, she talked about how, you know, she grew up in a wrestling family or around wrestlers because of her dad, and actually was trained by Glacier, and actually only had about 6 to 8 matches kind of being thrown on TV. So that kind of gave a lot of backstory and a lot more of an understanding of kind of where she's coming from or why she might look a little nervous or a little despondent on TV, is because she really just kind of got thrown into it. And so now that I see that perspective, it's kind of changed how I look at her, and even comparing her performances to like how women are written and perform on WWE, like with that in mind now, totally changed my perspective, actually.
Have you seen Anna Jay on Being the Elite on BTE?
No, actually, because I came into BTE like quite late, and I don't really watch it that much anymore.
If you have a chance, go and find her stuff with the Dark Order, because she's actually really entertaining and she's really fun. Like, you get to see a lot more of her like character, but in a human sense, because it's BTE. So like they're acting, but they're not full on acting for TV. Yeah. It's really nice. And like she comes off as like this badass sweetheart, but on top of this, I get what you're saying. And like you and I have talked about it on the show, that she's really good, but she's still kind of learning the ropes. Mm-hmm. And I know you in particular are expecting these women to go a little bit harder at each other in terms of strikes and other moves. Like that, you want to see them be more like strong style Joshi, which is like the stuff you're into, right?
So and I think that I'm kind of impartial because I watch so much of stuff from overseas. It kind of changes your sensibilities. It kind of changes your expectations.
Totally.
Like I just recently rewatched Wrestle Kingdom from this year, and the type of matches that happen in an event like that compared to what we see week over week, totally different. Yeah. And even not in these huge events in Japan as well, even in locals and more like indie obscure stuff like Choco Pro, Gato Move, like it's a totally different type of performance. It's a totally different combination of essentially art forms and performance styles. So
yeah, it is. And with Anna, she was brought in as one character and then switched at the last minute to a Dark Order character. Mm-hmm. And the person that wanted that, unfortunately, is no longer with us. The person who had the most say in what he wanted was Brody Lee. Mm-hmm. And since he passed, Dark Order as a whole has been a little bit lost. But I feel like with Anna Jay, teaming her up with Tai Conchi was perfect, because they're clearly very good friends. They get along. There's chemistry. But at the same time, it gave her character a little bit more to work with. Whereas on her own, as just like Dark Order's Anna Jay number 99, we don't know what that could have been, because we lost Brody so suddenly, and so everything was kind of tossed into flux, and therefore her training and any kind of expectations of her have shifted as a result.
And just seeing her not even in the ring and just eating tacos with her friend kind of showed a side that you don't see a lot. And I think we're starting to see that with Jade Cargill a little bit more as well. Yes. Because Jade is doing so much press right now and tons of interviews, which I think is a really good strategy to just kind of make you more comfortable on camera. Even me, this is our 4th episode, and I've spent years in events and years in front of crowds of thousands of people, I still get nervous. So,
and also, like, are you ever front center with the crowds when you're doing events?
When I DJ'd, yeah, that was pretty intense. Yeah.
That's a good point. I forgot about the DJing stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Jade, she's been awesome. Like, she always had that charisma. Now she's just pushing it, and it's great. I'm such a fan. Even when she tweeted during the Super Bowl last night. She was like, if AEW had an ad, and they should just put me up there and watch all the people be like, oh, who is this fine woman?
She's not wrong.
And she's not wrong, but she's like, I'm a chill. And everyone's like, no, get on it, please. This is what you need to do. This is right. Because she's an attraction. She is. And like, regardless of how you feel about her in the ring in this moment, she continues to improve. And that's what you need to see. There's potential.
And we're also in a time of impressions and clickbait and getting people's attention. And you were kind of talking about her social game earlier. And I think that she's really starting to learn about the power of social media, because we all know it's a toxic dumpster fire for most of the time. But if you kind of know how to manipulate social media and your audience and have a thick skin and know kind of how to push back and be cheeky and take the piss, it can be a very powerful tool.
Yes, absolutely. It is.
Like Serpentago is like one of the best, and Nyla, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, Nyla's insane. Like, she has something for every moment. She's got a Photoshop or some sort of just snippy comment. It's perfect. It's so cool.
She has the Nyla army just waiting with memes.
That's true. Anyway, what else was going on?
Tons of things were going on. AQA got signed to All Elite, which was super cool. I didn't know too much about her NXT days. Maybe you do?
Yeah, so she was Zeta Ramir on NXT, and unfortunately, she at one point was medically disqualified from competing in WWE. What that means, no one really has a full understanding of it. If you go on Fightful.com and you just search AQA or Zeta Ramir, you'll see the actual transcripts from that conversation that she had, where she outlined like what happened and how she got to the point where she was medically disqualified. But it's great to see her back. She's clearly, she's clearly been working. She's clearly been training, and she's great. I mean, I don't know about you. I don't know how you felt going into this match, but when it was announced, I was more critical of the fact that they were bringing her in instead of spotlighting another AEW talent that maybe has had more time on Dark or Dark Elevation, any of the women that they've had recently that people might even know a little bit from the actual product that they put on. And what happened in the end, I was happy with, because AQA was a great opponent and a great wrestler, and she signed. But leading into it, what were your thoughts when they announced the match and leading into all that stuff?
I didn't know too much about her, so I didn't have the context of, I guess, expectations, but I agree with you. Like, knowing her background now, knowing that she was trained by Booker T, knowing that she was NXT, knowing that she knows what she's doing, clearly, you do have a little bit of a higher expectation. And there was some drunk guy in the front row that said "you suck" just before she did a star splash. So it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, there were enough douchey men yelling things at wrestlers.
It's Atlantic City, honey. Like,
yeah, that's fair, but it shouldn't be that way, man. It shouldn't be that way. It's horseshit. Happened in Chicago too. It happened at Warrior Wrestling with Athena versus Thunder Rosa, which was another excellent match from this week that people have to go out of their way to watch.
So people just don't like to see women win.
Dude, tell me about it. It's bullshit. I hate it, man. Like you said, just the women. It doesn't have to be women's wrestling. It can easily just become wrestling if people just stop, assuming that it needs to be whatever. I don't need to go into it.
Even the term intergender wrestling, I think is dumb for many reasons. And I think, there's been some wrestlers who agree with me. I think. And maybe she or someone else can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Ali Catch has spoken out about that. And a few other wrestlers who happen to be women have spoken out about that. Wrestling is wrestling.
It is. And it's an escape from reality. But and on top of it, I think that the onus is on the company or the wrestlers to tell the right story that goes along with it. Because unfortunately, in reality, there are situations of domestic abuse and other, things like that. I am not at all saying that a man versus a woman in a wrestling ring is the same, but I know that there are people who make that argument, and whether you agree with it or not, there is a reality that exists where one person even might see that, become uncomfortable, or not even uncomfortable, but then assume it's okay, which very much not. It is on the wrestlers, it is on the company to tell the story in a way that's not about the it's not about the violence.
It's about the story. Yeah. It has to be written well, it has to work, and it has to, come from an organic place. And I think that's kind of why I gravitate towards AEW a little bit more, is the way that they write their characters seems to come from a genuine place, and a place where the people involved are actually given a lot of input as well. If they are queer, if they are Black, if they are trans, if they, whatever it may be, they're given room to write or to perform the way they want to, and not be used as the gay one or the Black one, or you know what I mean? Or at least that's my opinion on it. And I think that that's refreshing, and I think that that is a step in the right direction. And a lot of people don't, and that's
it's true. I mean, look at Sunny Kiss. Sunny Kiss is a prime example of someone who is very openly gay and very openly, learning the process of being a wrestler, and continues to, again, rack up wins and experience. And at the same time, they keep saying, I don't want to be just the gay character on TV. I just want to be a wrestler. And Sunny said that to Renee Paquette on her podcast earlier this week. Or maybe it was last week. Regardless, time is a flat circle. But for Sunny to come out and say that, like, there are so many wrestlers under the LGBTQ sphere who are just like, I don't want to be tokenized. I don't want to be just a bit player. And I know you sent me something earlier, I think it was last week or over the weekend, of a wrestler who is absolutely trying to do that for all the wrong reasons. You want to talk about it?
I actually deleted that tweet because I think that some people, like I said, you can use social media for good, you can use social media for bad. And you and I are very aware of harassment online, especially in the past week, something that happened to one of our close colleagues as well. I just can't believe that, we're still having these discussions about online harassment. And I find it's quite easy to hide behind an anonymous Twitter account or Instagram account. And I was raised not to, eye for an eye every time someone insults you, but if someone comes for you or your family, etc., something will happen to you, whether it be karma or whether it be something much worse. You are opening the door to consequences. And I think that these people are cowards. They hide behind anonymous burner accounts online, and they would never have the balls to come to, where I train and say that to my face. Luckily, I've been pretty good with harassment online. I've been doxxed before in the past.
Oh, that sucks.
I've had photos of myself leaked before in the past, and I handled it pretty well, I think. But it's just crazy that this is so commonplace still.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. Yeah. The one thing that I remember all the time, and I try to preach this to others, is when you're about to argue with somebody whose avatar is not them, or it is or it's an egg, whatever it is, odds are it's someone under the age of 20 and over the age of 65. If you really want to argue with that, with those two demographics, by all means, but you're not going to win. You're either going to get frustrated or something bad is going to happen.
And I hope that these people genuinely get help, because there's clearly some kind of, mental illness or something going on there. And I'm not excusing this behavior at all, but it's just so insane that people need to have their guard up just for having an opinion anymore, just for existing online, or for, posting a hot photo of yourself, or whatever it may be. It's funny, freedom of speech doesn't also mean freedom of consequences. So keep that in mind.
It's a weird world when you're living online, and it's even worse when people come after you for wrestling, for friggin' wrestling, man. Just or for being friends with someone who's in the wrestling sphere. It doesn't make sense.
Even myself, sometimes I'll start getting really mad at what's going on in the show, and I'm like, Lillie, it's wrestling.
It's wrestling.
Relax.
The reacting to it is part of the game. It is. You're there to react, but you're also there to
I
show
work myself
yourself.
into a shoot so much though. Like I'm like, you need to stop this. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, as long as you're able to temper that and realize, holy shit, it's a show, I need to chill.
Yeah.
Then you're fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else is on? We were talking about Warrior Wrestling. We were talking about that show.
Yes.
That was a good show.
So I knew nothing about that promotion before this. I think I saw the I saw the Thunder graphic and the Mike Bailey graphic, and I was like, okay, I need to watch immediately.
Yeah. So Mike Bailey and Santana had probably the match of the night.
Bruh.
Dude, like we know Speedball. We're Canadians. We've seen Speedball. We've seen Speedball Mike Bailey for the last 5 years or somewhere in Canada because he could wrestle here. Well, recently now,
yeah,
but it hasn't been because he was banned from entering the United States to wrestle for 5 years because he got caught trying to cross the border illegally to wrestle.
Oh, I think you told me about this previously. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say for weed or for something ridiculous, but
no,
that's
he got
bad.
caught. No, he got caught trying to make a buck. He got caught trying to work illegally, so he got banned for 5 years. His ban has been lifted. He got signed to Impact Wrestling almost immediately, which is wonderful
Good
news.
for him, yeah.
And now, because he's on a legitimate visa, he is going and tearing up every indie he can. And every time he steps into the ring, he makes a new fan, makes a new believer, whatever it is. I found it was so cute, but also so like, I didn't love it, but I thought it was cute having Veda Scott, who is his girlfriend, on commentary for Warrior Wrestling for that show. And
I did not know that either.
Yeah, so anytime she was like, I'm very familiar with Speedball, it's because they are together, very openly together. But
that's hilarious.
It's very funny. It's cute, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't love it when couples are interacting necessarily in like the commentary wrestler role.
It makes more sense when it's like in ring together, for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm very nitpicking. Like, I still thought it was great. But man, Santana coming out and having a singles run, I'm all for it. I think he's doing wonderful work as well. Those two tore it up.
I have nothing to add, honestly. Like, I have nothing to add. It was crazy. And they were kind of shooting on each other a little bit. Not too hard, but I think that they kind of realized that, you know, they found each other's comfortability with each other, and they're like, you know, let's put on a banger.
And they've worked together before.
Yeah.
So they do know each other. So I think it was more, there's that belief in wrestling, which we'll get into in a minute, because I know you're getting ready for some wrestling of your own, of the idea of do it now and ask for forgiveness later. And so if you have an understanding with your partner in the ring that you can take a few potato shots and then afterwards everything's going to be cool, then go for it. Make it real. Make it look good.
Well, I saw this awesome YouTube video. I'll send it to you later, and it's about this this guy who's a professional voice actor over in Japan, and he's had huge success on YouTube with other projects, like millions and millions of subs. So he's able to, you know, access pretty much whatever he wants over there. And he actually got to train with Chris Brooks and go to a DDT show without knowing a goddamn thing, like total no knowledge of anything. Never went to a wrestling show ever in Japan. And it was unreal because the training aspect of that video was wild, because you see that exactly what you're saying. It's about honor. To me, wrestling is about honor. It's about honoring your partner. And I come from a boxing background as well. So it was very much about that as well. Like, you weren't even allowed to really start sparring until they really trusted you and knew that you weren't going to hurt other people or hurt yourself, more importantly. So it's very similar in wrestling. And you see these guys in these rings practicing in these like bizarre, like almost factory spaces in Japan. And they're so brutal with each other, but so gentle and so caring. And this guy who had never, ever wrestled before was able to do like power bombs and all types of stuff just by doing one session with pros. So it goes to show you, it's really a lot about just trust.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to start learning.
So tell me, you told me before we started doing the recording gimmick, you're like, you're going to train, you're going to be doing some stuff. What's going on? What's the plan?
So I've always wanted to fight in some capacity, like professionally, not on the street, obviously. And I was
with Lillie.
Maybe in like the far dystopic future when I have to scavenge for food or something.
Right. Mad Max.
but yeah, I got into boxing. I got into fitness, like, I don't know, let's say like 6-7 years ago. And I boxed with some really interesting people, including Mike Tyson's old sparring partner.
Cool.
And just some local boxers who did some cool stuff. And then the Pendejo came, so couldn't even get your license, you couldn't get sanctioned, you couldn't do shit really. So a lot of boxers went to the States, obviously, or to like Guatemala, Brazil, whatever. That was not for me. And then, I loved wrestling as a kid, kind of fell off. And then during the pandemic, got back into it through like mostly Beyond Wrestling, AEW, all that stuff, and Super Kicked. So they were throwing some free workshops before, and then we had to lock down again. But I will be starting my first workshop there at the end of the month. And I also have been talking to some people at Battle Arts in Mississauga. I know Santino works there. I think it's his gym, actually. So
yes, it is.
I'm going to be doing some judo and wrestling there as well, and hope to do some indies this year for sure.
That's exciting. I'll be there, front row, cheering you on. We'll bring the posse. Everyone will come out and cheer you.
I'll blade. Like, I don't care. I'm ready. Like, let's go.
your first session, you'll be like, how do I cut myself without making it too hard?
Oh, knowing myself, I would go too deep, and they'd be like, done.
Yeah, you got a gusher. Yeah. So on top of that, I mean, so that's awesome. I look forward to hearing about your success, and I'm sure people here are going to be like, let's talk about.
And we're going to go to Ryerson too.
Yes.
Month. Yeah.
So I was going to say, we were supposed to meet initially face-to-face at Greektown Pro Wrestling, my local and your new favorite home that you don't have yet. But they're going to be back at Ryerson in April. So when they announced that last night, first of all, I have to say, Greektown, please stop posting everything on Facebook first. Please just start using any other form of social media.
2022.
Stop it, please. Just
they would kill it on TikTok, actually, because people would be so confused.
We'll talk to Channing at the show. Mm-hmm. We'll take over their socials somehow. Anyway, they're coming back in April. We also have learned in Ontario, where we are, that things are going to start reopening soon, hopefully, and staying that way. So the show will hopefully go on. We'll be able to see a lot of good wrestling. I'm excited for this. We're going to interview some people. We're gonna get in the ring. We're going to cause some shit.
Yeah, and it won't just be in front of my tarot background too. It'll be nice to get out in the world. Maybe we'll shoot in a bar. Maybe we'll, start going live more. We can even start doing some video game stuff, because I know that we talked about Mario Kart, and right now we're building an emulator. My soon-to-be husband's building an emulator, and I really want to play all the old WWF games, and some Simpsons games like Crazy Taxi and all kinds of weird shit. So lots of stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, and we do it now on Twitch. If you go to Fightful Gaming on Twitch, we're there. We're doing it. Let's move on. Let's what else are we talking about? What are we?
Well, we didn't talk about how you should like, follow, subscribe, and comment.
Oh, you're doing my thing. That's so nice. Thank you. I like how everyone here has started doing that for me. That's perfect.
We all watch it. We all know what to do.
That's true. Y'all creating the same place. It's all Fightful Overbooked. Come on. What do you want to do? You want to talk about AEW? You want to talk? Was there more indie stuff? What do you want to do?
No, let's go over to Atlantic City, bud.
Oh baby, where do you want to start? There's so much.
The MJF parade. The start.
the parade of the stars, and then him sucking face with two beautiful women.
Who were those women? I want to know. Like, were they indie wrestlers?
So one is Gabby Ortiz, who
yeah.
So it was so funny. She had posted
with the famous ass.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying it. I think she posted that she was like, "Hey, oh no, that was someone else. I'm thinking about Gracia." Gabby Ortiz is whatever. She's there. She's great, wonderful. She showed up, and then the other one was MJF's shoot girlfriend.
Oh, the redhead lady.
Yes, that's why they were so comfortable. She is.
Okay.
So we see them sucking face. He gets in the ring, and he's all like, "Hey, I am not just the best in the world. I am better than the best in the world." And he's got a damn T-shirt for it.
The cardboard cutouts were great. Corporate Wardlow was great. Yes. His facial expressions were great. I love FTR. The champagne bit was awesome. Yeah. And then they got interfered by Punker and Sting and Darby, which was super cool. They all look great. Everyone has clearly been eating well and training hard, even more. Or maybe it's just being on the road. You're just so exhausted, you kind of like lose weight. but everyone looked good. And I like this new stipulation where he's not allowed to use Darby or CM Punk for a tag match. I think that's going to be a banger, and I'm curious to see where that goes.
Well, we found out later in the night where that went.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. Well, let's just fast forward to that. So Punk's out and he's like, I want my rematch. And like you said, MJF is like, sure, if you beat FTR and you get yourself a partner. So Punk goes on Twitter. First of all, the world is like, it's going to be this person, it's going to be that person. And I love this. I love this for Punk. I think this was him, again, using social media the right way. He's just like, hey, Danhausen on Twitter. He's like, hey, Danhausen, are you ready? And people are like, oh my God, it's going to be Danhausen.
I didn't see any of this. I don't know how I missed this.
If you missed this, it was perfect because people who know that it's not going to be the person that you call on.
Of course.
But people who don't are just like, oh my God, it's going to be Danhausen. And he also tweeted, hey, Samoa Joe, are you in the country? And that caught people afire. So I really like that. I think it was perfect use of socials for Punk to get people excited, to get other people being like, okay, so it's neither of those two. And it turns out to be Jon Moxley. I didn't expect Jon Moxley.
my like hall pass husband, even though he's happily married with a child and a wife who I love as well.
I think this was the right person. I think it was the perfect person because Mox is basically out of sight, out of mind, unless Bryan Danielson's involved. And since he wasn't, and he wasn't on the show at all, people's brains were just not even in that mindset where it could be Mox.
So or it could be a possibility.
Yeah. So I was so happy and so impressed in a way that none of us really picked it up that it was going to be Mox. And then when it was, the match itself was phenomenal. It's very well done.
It was a great booking. I didn't expect it at all. And yeah, nothing really else to add. I'm so shocked that I missed all that stuff on Twitter with Punk and Samoa Joe because everyone, for the past whatever amount of weeks was speculating. And I would say I'm like a newer like hardcore wrestling fan, but in my like couple of years now of being like following it hardcore, I don't really care too much for like signing speculation. Like it just isn't something that really like excites me. Obviously, if someone I like from the indies is getting a deal like Nick Wayne getting a developmental deal, very cool. But the surprise of signing all these people, it doesn't get me. But I got to admit, I mean, I'm wearing a Bullet Club shirt right now.
Hey, all right. Welcome to the party, pal.
It was awesome. It was awesome to
anyway.
It was awesome to see the debut, but I kind of already knew it was coming.
Yeah, so Jay White shows up and he does this whole thing where he doesn't say a word to start and he takes out Trent and Rocky Romero. And I'm excited. Poor Rocky, but you know what? Rocky gets the bag because all Rocky has to do is get the phone call from TK where TK says, "Hey, I need a guy. I need someone from New Japan." And Rocky's like, "Yeah, sure. I'll give you whoever you want if you book me." And out comes Rocky Romero, gets himself a job, gets himself a match, and he gets paid. And in the interim, you get Jay White, which is cool. I'm fine with it. Jay White showing up and being the Bullet Club leader who, the Bullet Club leader who's had a problem with Adam Cole, who's had a problem with Kenny Omega, who's had a problem with the Bucks, who basically has had a problem with everyone but his own faction at the moment.
You should make a chart, like a Bullet Club chart of all the all the drama over here.
You know that It's Always Sunny meme?
Yeah,
Carol. And it's all together, and he's like, it's all connected. It's that. It's exactly that.
It's a yarn room. If you've watched Dateline, you must know what a yarn room is.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm gonna go. My wife has some yarn. I'm just gonna make it. Anyway, I love seeing Jay White. He's gonna have a match next week on Rampage against Trent.
That'll be incredible. And let's not forget that Sue is also in Chaos too.
Yes, so Sue's gonna hit Jay White with a car, is what you're saying.
100%. Yeah,
that's how this story ends. Mm-hmm. Yeah, fine by me.
And they ride off into the sunset
with them trailing Jay White underneath the car.
Hire me, please.
That's right. Let's get Lillie on the writing team. All right. No? Okay, fine.
The world ain't ready.
Let's talk about the other debut of the night. Isaiah Cassidy comes out. He's got a Face of the Revolution ladder match, qualifying match. And to the shock of not many, I think most people were looking forward to and expecting it. Out comes Keith Lee. Keith Lee has officially signed a contract with All Elite Wrestling.
And I expected it, and I thought it was a great entrance. I thought he was showing a lot of genuine human emotion. He's great at just working the camera and working the crowd. The chants were lovely. And yeah, it was a great match. He threw him like jazz style on Fresh Prince. It was crazy. And they already made that on Fire Pro too, which is awesome.
That was really funny. They call it the Uncle Phil Beal. It's going to be real good.
I died, bro. I died.
Such a good match. So easy. Matt Hardy, leaving through the crowd in the middle of the match, just like his erratic behaviored brother.
That call out was amazing. And there was another call out where they're like, how can they coexist? And I was like, wow, they're just really going for those WWE call outs now. Eh?
Why not? It's harmless fun. That's what I love. Keith Lee has a lot of potential in AEW. I don't think he needs to be catapulted to the main event right away. I think there's a lot of stories to tell. And I talked about this on another podcast. There are so many opportunities within AEW to tell their stories soap opera style, where they can pull out storylines one week, insert a different one, and kind of catch you up in the next week as to what's going on in this storyline. But storyline A happens, storyline B. There's so much interchangeability with their roster and the depth of it that people often are, I think, happier seeing a week off from a storyline instead of having to watch the same storyline play out week after week after week.
And it seems that and it's not just Tony Khan, being like, I'm the overseer and control every single thing. I mean, at the end of the day, he does. But I do see a shift in the past, let's say month, that he is doing rewrites. He is kind of listening to feedback from fans, from the Reddit threads, from all that stuff. At the end of the day, Tony Khan is an obsessive wrestling fan himself, and you can really see that. And I really do think that there is like a little bit of like burnout going on, because there's just such a big roster. There's so many storylines, and he also runs like so many other sports teams. He owns the Four Seasons in Toronto. He's doing a lot of things, and I think with storytelling and character development, you're kind of seeing that. Like I really hope that 2022 for AEW has a little bit more of a focus on storytelling and character development.
I mean, plus he's running for Florida Congress. No, he's not. He's not actually.
Is Kanye?
They all are. No, did you see the story with TK running for House of Representatives, and that was a whole fake out thing? Yeah, silly.
To have money,
right? Well, you want to get back at people in Florida, you run them as a Democrat, so that's just how it works over there.
Apparently.
Anyway. But yeah, seeing Keith Lee make his debut was great. I'm excited to see what they do with him. I'm excited to see what he pitches as well, because part of the AEW way is not just pitching to an army of one. You're not just pitching to TK, you're pitching for yourself, and you are pitching for your own character, not writers to write your character. That's a big difference between AEW and WWE's creative process.
And that's one thing that would scare me. Like, I personally, let's say I was younger and I really wanted to do pro wrestling full time. I personally would be really scared to work for AEW because of that. You're so self-reliant on your own development, on your own push, on everything. It's not that there's too much freedom. It's just that it's kind of all on you. And that would scare the hell out of me, especially if I was like a greener wrestler. So, I mean, kudos to everyone who, is able to maintain a career, maintain merch sales, maintain other endeavors. It's a lot of work. It's not just like fake storytelling, fighting. It's a lot. It's a lot going on.
It is. And like you said, if you're a green wrestler and you don't know how to advocate for yourself, it's going to be a little bit tougher. Like we saw Peter Avalon, there was an article that went out where he discussed why the librarian didn't see the success he expected to see from it. Unfortunately, people decided to take the word failure and make that the whole crux of the story, when really the word failure is it doesn't have one single solid binary use. Failure can be derived on different scales. And for Peter, he decided to see it that way, as like, I never said the character failed. But at the same time, what is failure? Is failure championship related? Is it being on TV? Is it wins and losses? Is it likability? Is it getting over with fans? That's another whole part of your journey as a wrestler, is how your creative impacts your vision of yourself in the wrestling companies you work in.
And that's like, I love Peter Avalon. I think he's hilarious. He's like a meme lord. But that left a weird taste in my mouth, because it was very deflective and dismissive. And especially if like you don't have the librarian there to also make a statement. Like it just put a weird taste in my mouth. I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think there's like anything too deep about what he was saying. I just think that it was the wrong wording for sure.
Yeah. All it was I came out, I didn't make an impact. I pivoted and I found success with the wingmen. And the wingmen are, for all intents and purposes, over and successful in the over with the crowd way. They're not winning titles, but they're on TV, on Dark every week or at every taping. Like, it means something. Anyway, what did mean something was that main event. Holy shit.
Bro.
You seen that much blood in a while? Holy shit.
Sploosh. First of all, sploosh. Like, I know I'm not gonna like go into detail what sploosh means, but you can Google it. I love blood. I love death matches. I love Hangman and Lance Archer. So that whole thing was just unreal. And when they said Texas death match, and when they say Texas death match, they usually just kind of mean like, oh, we're gonna blade or we're gonna do like a table spot or whatever, which is pretty commonplace on AEW, but they really went for it. And I really like that they included glass. That was like a nice nod to Jersey hardcore wrestling for sure.
Did you, when you saw that there was like 15 minutes left, were you excited? Were you upset? Were you like,
I just did this. I was like, like, what? How is this possible? It just kept going. And the fork bit when he was just like licking the fork.
Dude.
And Moxley actually took a really bad table spot the night before too. Like they obviously taped them together, so I guess it was that night. But I was like, oh my god, there was a lot of really bad bumps that night, and people got their money's worth for that ticket. Let me tell you.
I almost went because I had friends who were like, come to Jersey, and I was like, oh, Jersey's not too far. I can stay with friends. But I
actually was DMing with Joey Janela like last night or the other night. I'm trying to get him to officiate my wedding, but we'll see what's going on.
Okay. I want to see it. I want to see the bad boy officiating a wedding. Let's do it.
He said he'd love to do it, but like there's travel and schedule, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh, dude, that'd be awesome.
And he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, I know. I've had a few conversations. He's a really nice guy. Yeah. So one thing with that match that I loved was not only the amount of blood, but the storytelling involved. So we talked last week about Dan Lambert and how we kind of talked ourselves around the Dan Lambert situation to the point where we respect what he's doing and we like what his character is doing. Mm-hmm. I loved what he did this week or this past week. The
turnbuckle bit, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the perfect storytelling device to show us that, Hangman can't do his move. He can't do the buckshot lariat if he can't go over the top rope. So you get rid of the top rope. They started the
and then you just use a referee.
So you just use referee Paul Turner, who's like suddenly on his knees. Perfect. They set it up really well.
And I actually rewatched it because I really wanted to see like how they like obviously rehearsed it, and it was so funny. They obviously were like, all right, so you're gonna bend over and clear the barbed wire, and then I'm gonna do it. And he went on his mark. He did the bend over, and it was awesome. I didn't see that coming. Are you kidding me?
Not at all. Not through the table. That's for damn sure. When they did the
I'm actually gonna rewatch it like after this episode because that's like one of the craziest matches ever. Like I can't think of a better AEW hardcore match other than the Bunny no DQ with all the other women and Thunder Rosa Britt.
Yeah, I miss Penelope Ford. Where have you been? Come back, Penelope.
Where has she been? Maybe she's just taking some time off.
I think she worked dark, or at least she was working the tapings. But I miss her. I miss seeing her on my TV.
Yeah, she's great. She's just a great person, great wrestler. She's funny, and I was actually talking to her about anime on Twitter. She's a huge anime fan.
Oh, that's awesome. I've seen her on Twitch a bunch of times playing, like, she's playing Tomb Raider for a whole long stretch of time.
Random.
Why not?
Yeah.
Anyway.
You kind of look alike, actually.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, if she was blonde, yeah.
Got that cosplay going. I could see it. Mm-hmm. Hangman wins his match. He retains his title. That was to the shock of nobody. And that's probably why this match was so good, is because we all knew what the outcome would be. We just didn't know how they would get there. And they did a good job.
And they built him up as like the monster versus like the cowboy kind of, right, for weeks, like what's going to happen. And they're also doing something really interesting that I maybe picked up wrong with Wardlow, where they're kind of showing a weakness in his leg, similar to what they did with Miro with the weakness in his neck. So I think that might be used in like storylines going forward just to take him down.
I haven't noticed that. I'm gonna have to go back and take a look. But if you're right, then I'm gonna call this clip up and I'm gonna be like, Lillie got it before all y'all got it. Hashtag it'll be hashtag Lillie knew. Adam Cole comes out, grabs that giant ass title belt that's about the size of him, and hands it back to Hangman Page. You see the memes?
No, I didn't see those memes. I was trying to avoid like social this weekend because of all the convoy stuff.
Oh, I fear it. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, the AEW title belt is like very big. It's a physically large title belt.
Especially compared to the women's belt. Oh my goodness. Which is like, it's Riho size. Like,
yes. And they resized it for Britt, but like it's still not very big. Anyway, they had Adam Cole holding the AEW title like lengthwise, and it was like it's the size of him in some ways. Like it's a huge belt.
And he's not a small guy.
He's not, but compared to that belt, it made him look tiny. And the joke on Twitter has been that he is tiny. Like, how can he be over? He's so small. And come on, we know. So anyway, Adam Cole is holding the belt. People have photoshopped the belt to be like his size and bigger. So
you need to send me some of these when we.
I'm gonna send you some of these because people are like, "Who did this? Who photoshopped this?" And all the replies are just like, "No, dude, that's how it really aired. That's how it looked."
While we're on the topic of memes, Anna Jay and Johnny Hungy have now become like a super popular meme format with the ear beating stuff. I've been seeing it with crypto memes. I've been seeing it with everything. It's everywhere.
It's amazing. It's so crazy. And for those two, listen, it's perfect for those two because they're eating it up. It's perfect. Yeah. Dude, come on. Anytime it crosses over in the right way, wrestling is fun. And that was it.
And we also didn't talk about Baker versus Renegade, which I thought was a pretty interesting match.
So let's move to Rampage. Let's talk about that match. What did you think? I know you were excited for Robin Renegade.
For both I love the sisters a lot. Robin was up against Baker, which to get onto TV pretty much out of nowhere is already awesome. They obviously vet her. They know she's a great worker. And I can tell that Britt has been doing a lot more work on her technicals. She's doing a lot more arm locks. She's doing a lot more takedowns. Her work rate is up, and that was really nice to see. I thought that they worked really well with each other. The match went long enough. And I really enjoyed it, and I hope that the Renegades do get signed. I think they do have a developmental deal as well. It makes sense because they're top of the pops at Nightmare Factory. And it's great. It's great to just see more women in the ring in general.
The Renegade Sisters are, I believe, they're Mission Pro Wrestling tag champions. They have it in a few different places. And if they're Mission Pro, then they're very clearly Thunder Rosa. And if they're training with Thunder Rosa, then they're in the right place for a match like this. Taking out Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa comes out after the match because Baker decides to do the lockjaw spot. And I think it's perfect to have Robin Renegade because if you know, you know. And then you have, again, the tag team partner, the sister, by the way, on socials, promoting the match as come watch my sister lick ass this week.
Brilliant. And actually, they've been staying with Thunder. Like they've been staying with Thunder for, I don't know how long, but it was on her YouTube stuff. And those girls love MMA. They love their takedowns. They love their submission holds. And you can really see that in their work sets. And I love Britt. I have her merch. She's awesome. But I do want to see her drop that belt soon. I really, really do.
Could happen. We'll see what happens with Revolution. Who can lead? What do you think is going to be
Thunder? I think it's going to be Thunder Britt 2.0.
Really? So out of this match, like we said, Britt is hitting the lockjaw after the match. And then out comes Thunder Rosa. And then out comes Jamie Hayter. And then out comes Mercedes Martinez. And so I'm excited for two things. One, the inevitable Hayter versus Martinez match. That's going to be fun.
That's going to be a Joshi strong style fight. That's going to be rough.
They both have that experience, and they both. It's funny because Jamie Hayter is so young but so experienced, whereas
she carries herself older, and not looks wise, just experience wise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you've got Mercedes Martinez, who has 20 plus years of experience in the business, and clearly she knows how to do her job. So for the two of them to match up, it's perfect in so many ways, and they are going to go hard at each other. So I'm excited for that. Even for them, if they were decide to team up and be a tag team. Those two could absolutely run through everybody.
Yeah, they would just knock people off one by one.
Exactly. I'll take one-on-one for now, but the match that I think you and I are both excited for is this week on Dynamite. It's
no DQ,
disqualification.
baby.
Yes, Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez. They're doing the rematch, and I am so stoked.
Yeah, it's gonna be unreal. I was at the gym the other day and I was using like a push sled, and like when you run it down the turf, you take out the 2 metal pipes, put it on the other side, and I took out the metal pipe, and I was just like,
what if I use it on this person at the gym right now?
No, I like the people at my gym. But yeah, it's gonna be greasy. It's gonna be a greasy, probably bloody fight.
I want this match to be the main event this week.
Yes, and I think before I went on the air, please correct me in the comments or on Twitter or whatever. I believe there's only been 3 women's main events on TV or PPV and AEW, and I think that that's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. It's time to put women at the forefront on these PPVs and on TV. I'm not saying every week. We don't have to pander to women and be like, oh, every week, but let's see the roster more.
Yeah, I agree. And this is an opportunity for them to showcase 2 very well-established women in and outside of wrestling, and also showcase a women's division that, quite frankly, is starting to see its rise. They're starting to focus on it a little bit more. And if they continue to do that, then they're on the right course, because we have been critical, you and I, on and off camera.
Yeah.
We've been critical about the women's division in AEW. But this could be it. This could be the start of something good. They put 4 women on TV in matches this past week on Dynamite, and I think that's okay for me. I will take that W as long as they keep doing stuff like this.
And Hirsch killed it on that promo. I mean, so did Chris, and people were so harsh on Chris for the joke, and I think that was like, like a 2 out of 10 on the spicy wrestler comment scale. But I didn't realize how good Hirsch was at promo. Like she's on fire.
Yeah, man, you got to give them time to talk, and in a pre-recorded segment, it's perfect.
Yeah,
they have
she was great.
Fix it. Yeah,
10 out of 10, A+.
Okay, I know a lot of people clowned on Chris because everyone said, you're the face, why are you making a comment like that? I get it, and I agree with it to a point. From a storytelling perspective, it was like outlandish to go there. So
please, like Marvel superheroes don't say like off-color things sometimes.
Not like that. It didn't. I don't know. Again, I'm not clowning on it. I thought it was hilarious and just like probably not the right thing to say. But coming out of it, I think we're all excited for that match.
It's all in good fun. It's just wrestling. We're good.
You want to talk about Hook?
I do want to talk about Hook. I actually want to talk about how the reason I love Hook is he does crossface strikes, and crossface strikes are really hard to pull off in a real fight or especially in a wrestling situation. And I love that. It looks so cool. Red Rum is such an awesome finisher. I love his kind of brooding, sad boy, like anime sensibility. Love Action Bronson. Love his dad. Like the list goes on.
I think Red Rum is a dog shit name for a finish, but
it's a pretty dumb name, but it is a good finisher.
It's the Katajime. Like it's Taz's move. It's perfect. It's the right thing to do. And I love, father passing it on to son. And Taz is very proud of his son. It's very clear when he does it on commentary. Like he says, it's all business for Hook, but like he's enamored with his son seeing this success.
The handsome devil.
He's a handsome devil. It's very upsetting. He beats Blakely from the factory. I do like the story that Hook is taking on everybody he's trained with or has been trained by. And I've said this on other shows. I think we're going to get Hook versus QT in Hook's first pay-per-view match. And that'll probably happen at Revolution. And it'll be a cool down match, but it'll be a hot match because people love Hook. People enjoy the story with QT and Hook. And I think Hook and QT, because they work together and QT trained Hook, that they will have a great match. They have that chemistry because they've trained. So if that's going to be a match between like a banger tag team title match and the main event, then I think it's perfect.
And they've already kind of like planted the seeds for that match too, him stepping over QT on the ramp. So I could see that. I didn't think about it for Revolution, but why not? Makes sense.
You got to put him on the card somehow. And I don't want to put him in like a face of the Revolution ladder match because putting Hook in a ladder match feels absolutely ridiculous to me.
Also, speaking of ladders, I instantly thought of Sammy Guevara, and then I thought of the Inner Circle, and oh boy, that was some cringe stuff going on there.
So the Sammy part, I agree. I did not like Sammy walking out for a second time and being like, figure your shit out. And I'm like, bro, it's kind of, you don't need to do that. But Santana cutting down
yeah.
Jericho. That made the whole promo worthwhile to me.
With the resistance bands?
Yes. Ortiz is just like, why are you walking around with resistance bands around?
He was getting his pump on. You gotta get your pump on.
I guess because attendance was mandatory and he just kind of didn't plan his time out.
You get catering, you get your pump on, you go out. Exactly. The catering's dope at AEW. Like Emi Sakura is always posting it, and it looks really, really, really good.
I watch the Bunny's vlogs, and typically she's posting what they have, and because she's vegan, I'm not vegan, but like she posts the vegan entrees, and like it looks real good. I gotta admit. So speaking of vegans, we got Bryan Danielson, and he's got
the meanest vegan.
The meanest vegan. He is such an upset vegan. What is with that? Anyway, he does the backstage thing where he's like, I'm not upset about Mox being Punk's partner. I don't care about that. Calls Punk like second rate. So they're planting those seeds, which I'm very much a fan of. And then you've got Lee Moriarty coming up to the to basically confront, well, Matt Sydal and Lee Moriarty coming up to confront Bryan Danielson. And I love that Lee eventually is just like, enough, like talk to me, don't talk to him. And they set up this match for Wednesday. And this is the only other match that I think could be the main event, but it could also very much be the opening hot Big Bang Theory lead-in match. I would like to see that too.
The Big Bang Theory.
Hey man, it gets ratings. The lead-in is massive.
It gets a lot of viewers, like extra viewers too, probably for like the first 15 minutes anyway. But
you can see it if I showed you the ratings. If you really cared, you could see the quarter-hour breakdowns, and you'll see what the lead-ins are like.
No, I love Moriarty. I'm stoked that he's getting a push. He's hanging with the big dogs, you know, and now it's kind of. It's throwing a wrench in a lot of people's storylines too. So I think there's going to be a lot of double crossing, betrayals, fun wrestling stuff.
Yeah, it's coming together. There is a lot of really cool and interesting stuff coming together in AEW. And I think that the surprises will keep coming. I still think that we'll see another surprise entrance for the Face of the Revolution ladder match at Revolution.
I think Kenny's coming back too, but
I don't know. Do you think Kenny's coming back so quickly?
I could see him coming back, yeah.
I guess with the Jay White stuff, you can see Kenny come back, but at the same time, I think there's still story to be told with Adam Cole wreaking havoc on the Elite and on Bullet Club and being basically like staging a coup and taking over in Kenny's absence and then building to Kenny's eventual return. That could be a further, I would do it even an All Out. Like I would stretch that shit out.
Yeah. I just miss Kenny, so hopefully he comes back sooner than later.
Go buy a cameo from Kenny.
I was looking at prices. There's actually some funny ones that aren't too bad. MJF's are hilarious. Like even his prices are a shoot. It's great.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone who's watching now is gonna buy you a Kenny Omega cameo.
Please do.
Hey, you've got her.
Or anyone, honestly, anyone. I don't care how big or small the wrestler is, as long as like they're recognizable.
Perfect. What else? Do we have anything else to end on? Get to last call. Ring the bell.
I'm good. There was so much going on this week. It was kind of hard to organize all my thoughts about it. A ton of things going on with the AEW. A lot of storylines are now developing. Hopefully we see a lot more storyline and character development this year. GCW has some crazy stuff coming up. I hope to see that in person. And all of our mandates are ending, so that allows a lot more shows to start happening, for borders to start opening. So stay tuned to Fightful Overbooked and Grappy Hour for obviously our podcast / stream, and hopefully some in-ring coverage and who knows what else.
There's a lot coming. We drop content every day on this channel, sometimes twice a day, every day. Just toss us a thumbs up. Go ahead and comment. If you've been supporting us so far, we appreciate you. Lily, where can the people find you on ye old internet?
On ye old Twitter at this and also on Fightful sometimes I write, and also on my website strangecomforts.com.
Go and support Lily. It's fightfuloverbooked.com, youtube.com/fightfuloverbooked. And now we're just going to be like 2.0. You want a taste?
Hey,
Tony
Is that racist?
No. It's only racist if you're Tony D'Angelo. I am Actual Pearl, JOELPEARL. Ladies, gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.